every single competition we're in, we are topping it. Top of the league, top of the Europa League group. It's good times to be an Arsenal fan, man. And today, listen, a bit of a dull game, I'll be honest. We weren't really at it. We weren't very impressive. The passing wasn't crisp or good enough. And it was a strong team. I was actually surprised with how much of a strong team Arteta put out. Even the subs were strong. So we should have done better. We really, really should have done better. PSV, they didn't carry much threat. And there's a different level. Honestly, I feel like for most of the game, we were not even in top gear. We struggled, I feel like, for that urgency and that intensity in our game. And I think because perhaps we're a bit too comfortable, there wasn't that sort of danger in the game for us that got us on our toes and got us feeling sharp. And you have to kind of find that from within and raise the level to make sure you go and see out the game. And I was worried today, actually, that when it was 0-0, that if PSV can take it to the last 10 minutes where it's 0-0, they might get something out of the game from a set piece or a mistake or whatever it might be. But thankfully, we made it happen. And I think that when we saw Ødegaard come on, he was the guy that instigated it. Vieira, for me, I would have actually kept him on. I thought he did quite well today, and I really like seeing him play, and I want him to get more minutes. And these are the games that he's going to get minutes in. But Ødegaard, when he came on, the difference that he made, just in terms of that perfect touch that he always has, and driving forward, and head up and getting the ball up the pitch, he was one that created that sort of those spaces for the goal. I think he picked up the ball in the first place and played the pass to Tomiyasu's. And Tomiyasu's assist I loved, actually, because when he got that ball on the right-hand side, I thought to myself, what's he going to do? Is he going to stand up the cross? Is he going to fizz it across? But he had that awareness to just cut it back. Very, very clever. And it's very, very difficult for a defence to mark the player who receives that sort of pass, because you're so concerned about your goal, so concerned about getting, that 6-yard box almost secure, that you don't really, it's quite hard to spot that person on the edge of the box. Xhaka took up a very good position. Tomiyasu with a cutback was absolutely perfect. And when it lands on that half volley, as long as you make good contact, you know you've got a very, very good chance of scoring. So Granit Xhaka does the business again, scored a goal, made the difference today, does what he does, picked up a yellow card as well. But you know what? Today, I'm much more concerned about the result than I am the performance. I've seen Arsenal play well, enough this season to know we've got it in our locker. And yeah, some people might turn around and say 1-0 against Leeds and a lucky performance, and 1-0 against PSV and, not exactly confidence or awe-inspiring. But as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal have shown enough this season with the way we've navigated the Premier League and a Europa League group that actually we're a decent enough team, and I'm not worried about performances. 2 1-0 wins that we've churned out, that's enough for me. And sometimes you have to look at result over performance. It's really, really important, especially this season in the Europa League, that we finish first in our group. Because if you don't finish first in the group, then you're putting yourself at risk of playing an extra round of fixtures when the Champions League teams drop into the Europa League. For those of you that don't know, some second-place teams in the Europa League who finish second in their groups will have to play a whole round of fixtures that first-place finishing teams in Europa League groups are guaranteed not to play. With our squad and any hopes we have of maintaining our form in the Premier League, we cannot afford to play any extra games, because we know, even today, we saw a drop-off in the level based on the fact that we changed our starting lineup. And that's been a constant this season. Every single time we have had to change our starting lineup, we're not as good as our first 11. And that's something that we need to figure out how to sort of, counteract in a way this season, because there will be times through injury, suspension, whatever it might be, where we don't have our starting 11. So we cannot afford to play any extra games. And today was massively important that we went and won this game, because now if we go to PSV in the away leg and we draw, then we're top of the group. But had we not won today, or had we lost, then it would have been seriously dangerous territory for us. But anyway, we have won. All we need to do now, as far as I'm concerned, is just get a draw out of the last 2 games. People in the comments, let me know, actually. I'm not sure in the Europa League whether it comes down to goal difference or whether it comes down to head-to-head. If it comes down to head-to-head, If we draw on PSV, we're absolutely fine. We're going to finish top of the group. If it comes down to goal difference, they've actually got a better goal difference than us. I think by 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken, after today's result. But look, in any case, next week I want to see a team full of kids on that pitch. I'm happy to even risk defeat in that game, knowing that all we need to do is beat Zurich at home. And I think that would be a dead rubber at that stage, and it should be a walk in the park. Obviously, don't want to go to PSV with the intention of losing. Let's go and try and win there. But actually, we've got a game that should be quite simple for our final game in the group stage where we can secure first spot. And that's what I expect Arsenal to do. Now, one thing I want to talk about today is Mikel Arteta. And that is because, you know what? When Mikel Arteta was struggling, so many of us, Arsenal fans, and even just people in football in general, were giving him pelters. He was getting so much stick. And now he's making this look easy. The Premier League, Europa League group, he's smashing both of them. And he's just making it look so simple. And we know it's not simple. Any experienced football fan knows it's not that simple. Ask Jurgen Klopp this season. It's not simple. I think we just have to appreciate and enjoy what Arteta is doing right now. And actually, do you know what? I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves. And yes, he is getting some credit, but I think he was getting a lot more stick when it was going badly than what he is getting credit when it's going unbelievably well. So, for me, Mikel Arteta is absolutely smashing it, doing an incredible job, and you have to kind of respect what he's doing this season. Next game that we've got in the Premier League, Southampton away. And this is a really, really interesting game for me for one reason in particular. There was a moment in the second half of this game where I think Ødegaard and Tierney both committed very cynical fouls against the same PSV player to stop a counter-attack. I've said a lot of times that Mikel Arteta has finally got Arsenal playing the dark art, and it's long overdue. But this game against Southampton is something I've got my eye on one particular thing, right? And that is the fact that Gabriel Jesus, who's such a crucial player for Arsenal, is on 4 yellow cards. I think Granit Xhaka as well is on 4 yellow cards. If it's not him, it's someone else. But certainly Jesus and one other player is on 4 yellow cards. I'm looking at the Southampton game and I'm thinking, who do we play in the Premier League after that? Nottingham Forest at home. I think Leicester are bottom of the table, but I don't know what their result is right now. Actually, they're playing now. But Nottingham Forest, one of the worst teams in the league, and we're playing them at home. If Arsenal really are practicing the dark arts, expect Gabriel Jesus to get a yellow card and Xhaka, if it is in fact Xhaka. If we do that, that's when we know Arsenal are planning and properly managing a season and playing those dark arts. So that's what I want to see. I want to see a yellow card for Jesus against Southampton at the right time, and then he misses Nottingham Forest at home. The other thing as well in terms of managing a season, Saka was kept on for way too long. He's obviously gone off and looked a little bit, less than 100% when he went off. I hope it's not a serious injury. Cannot afford for him, especially right now. He's just starting to really hit form. Can't afford for him to be injured. Anyway, I'm out. I'm going to be back with a 5 at 5 tomorrow, as per usual. Apologies for the lack of that content. I've been on holiday, but back to normal from now on. Until next time, we are top of the league. Like this video, get in the comments. See you next time.